Good evening, folks. How we doing? It's Sunday evening. It's about 8:30. Weekend before St. Patrick's Day, March 11th. So this is a take two on a new twist of a BLT. I tried doing it this morning, but when got a little crazy with the kids. But besides that, I also wound up clicking delete, and I wound up losing the video. So I figured there was such a nice response on it. I figured I'd try and do it again. And quite honestly, the tomatoes that I made in the house were completely gone before the end of the day. So I figured, you know what? It's a nice dish, had a nice flavor to it, and I wanted to redo it again. So just to give you a little bit of a check, we're so used to BLTs, and the BLTs are usually on some type of a bread or panini or some type of sandwiches or whatnot. And a new take on this is actually going to be done in a tomato. So what we got here is just a couple of things that we realistically need. We only need our tomatoes, the bacon, some lettuce, panko breadcrumbs, which I'll explain to you why in a little bit, mayonnaise, some lemon, and then either salt and pepper. I happen to have lemon pepper, so salt and lemon pepper is what I'll be using. And basically it's just a setup of a BLT, and what I'm going to do is go through the steps again now and kind of show you how it's going. What I got here is our skillet. The skillet specifically is it's already marinating, and it's important when you have a skillet itself is to make sure that there's oil in the pan, make sure that you're oiling before and as well as afterwards when you're storing it. Keeps the seasonings in the actual pan, so you want to make sure that if you happen to have these things, you always want to make sure that there's some oil in it. So what I happen to have right now is my skillet set on a medium temperature. I'm going to go ahead and start with the bacon. And I'm going to use one board to use the bacon, cut it up. And what we're going to do with the bacon is we're actually going to take about a half a pound of bacon. So if you're getting your bacon in the supermarkets or the stores or whatnot, you want to use about half the amount. Dana, thanks for watching. Hello, how are you, hon? You're going to take this bacon, and what you're going to do is you're not going to use it as full slabs. You're actually going to cut this up into diced chunks. And then you're going to use, you're going to put the bacon right into the pan. Nice warm sear to it, and you're going to get it to the point where it's just about fully cooked, but you want to make sure that you also don't want to get it to the point where it's too hot and then you want it burning it. So like I said, we're just going to redo this dish over again. As much as it was interesting with the kids today, it got a little too crazy, and then on top of that, when I went to go save it, I actually wound up discarding it and wound up losing the whole video altogether. But with such a great response that I got on Instagram, as well as quite a few friends that actually joined earlier today to watch the video, which I truly appreciate, and family too, including my cousin Vic. Vic, how are you? Good to talk to you, good to see you. Janet, as always, I appreciate you watching. With such a good response on Instagram and with a nice look on the actual final plating, and then as well, my household, I made 14 of these small tomatoes, and I wound up using 4 of the larger tomatoes, which is what we're going to use for this evening. It was such an incredible response that I actually only have 3 tomatoes left, and out of those 3 tomatoes, it's left because they're for lunch tomorrow. Otherwise, they would have been completely gone. So again, I'm redoing the dish, and you know, want to give a better response on this. So as I mentioned, your skillet is set right now to medium temperature, and what you're going to do is you're going to take this bacon and you're going to set it right into the pan. You want to get that sear going. And this is going to cook for a good 4 to 6 minutes. Watch your temperature. Watch the smoke level, as my wife is inside right now. You know, I smoke up the house. I tend to do that a little bit much. But what's good about this is if it's set at a medium temperature, a little bit between a medium low and a medium temp, that you'll actually get not too much of a smoke out of it. So it'll actually work out nicely. Keeping on stirring this and moving it around. That's what we're going to do first. So while I'm doing this, a lot of you folks have expressed an interest, and I appreciate it. We have our first official food event coming up, and that is going to be on June 9th. And on June 9th, what we're going to be doing is a full couples night out, and that event is going to be just for adults only. And the whole menu is going to be infused with an alcohol style type of menu. beer as well as alcohol. And I've already posted it on Facebook. It's also on our website and on the Facebook page, Maggio's Catering New York. And I'll get into that in a moment. So what I'm going to do right now is the bacon is going. I'm going to start taking my tomato. And the tomato that we're looking for is the vine tomatoes. All right. Especially for the fact of it being more of a luncheon or a lunch-style dinner or a lunch-style plating. The bigger the tomatoes, the better as far as for that purposes. Earlier today, I used the really small guys, not the grape tomatoes, but the next step above, the greeny tomatoes or the cherry tomatoes is what they're called. Those tomatoes are perfect for an appetizer. They're perfect for like a good grab and go, and it did do the job. But turns out that these guys right here were perfect as well. So take this tomato. Now you got the core, and you got the bottom. These tomatoes in particular have a nice set. They sit pretty nicely as it is. But what we're going to do is we're just going to finely cut the bottom, so this way they make sure that they perfectly sit. And then we're going to take the top, cut the top as well. So now you kind of got like a little table going on. Now what you're going to do is take the inside of your tomato and just cut to the walls. You don't want to go into the walls. You don't want to go too deep. And what you're then going to do is take your core. Nice little gadget this thing is. And then you're just going to basically take this whole core of the tomato on the inside of it and just scoop it all right out. And then you're left with a hollow tomato. And this will be perfect for later when we actually stuff it with what I'm going to show you. So the bacon's going. Now I'm going to cut the rest of these tomatoes. I got a total of 6. And these 6, it'll be perfect for the amount that I'm going to be cooking. So again, a lot of you might have already seen a picture of it already online. Some of you probably had no idea what I was doing, but it was it's a new twist on a BLT. And I got to tell you that it's incredible. In fact, actually my aunt said, oh, I don't like lemon. I'm not a big fan of lemon. But when I tell you that my household was quite taken by the fact that the lemon flavor in the dish, it actually worked out nicely. And the best part about this is my wife, who is not a huge tomato fan, especially eaten in such a manner, she actually devoured quite a few of these, and it was kind of fun watching because she's usually the first person to sit there and say no to the tomato. So that actually worked out nicely. So the bacon is going right now. It's set at a nice medium temp. What you're doing again is looking for that full cook to it, but you also want to make sure that don't burn. Very important that it don't. Again, coring a tomato. I got 3 more to go. We're just about done. As you can see on my cutting board, these are the chunks of the tomato. Now, in all honesty, you could take a lot of these right now. You take this and make this into a salsa, if that's what you were doing. For this particular purpose, this is all going in the garbage. None of this is getting used. But, you know, you can take this plump tomato. You could use it towards your sauce. You could use it in a whole bunch of things. But, again, for this purpose, we're actually going to be discarding a lot of this. All right, got a couple more to go. All right, make sure we get a good stir on the bacon. Cooking very nicely. Ironically, when I was baking this morning, I had one piece of bacon that fell out. There's another piece that fell out again. All right, bacon's coming along nicely. The total time on this dish shouldn't take no more than maybe 10-15 minutes. It's kind of a quick dish, but again, it's with so much flavors and so much. It's just unique. It's just a cool little dish, and you know, when you finish making it, it's pretty cool. Like I said, when you eat it. So going back to the event that we're doing, we got June 9th. We got this food event that I'm doing under Maggio's Catering, and it's going to be an adult evening, no children. There'll be dancing. There'll be a DJ, obviously. There will be beer, wine, and soda served. And the last thing, of course, is the food. The food is a beer or alcohol-infused menu. And what that means is that every dish that's going to be on this menu is going to be literally infused with alcohol, be it beer or some kind of alcohol. And it'll be the first real official venue that we're going to finally kick off. I tried doing it again last year, but last year I just couldn't get the momentum on it. But this time I got the local fire department involved and the local community, and we got such a great response so far. and we're still 3 months away, that it's going out very nicely. So the tomatoes are done, and in a minute I'll go over the actual menu itself for the dinner event. But the Terryville Fire Department in Port Jefferson on Long Island has agreed to kind of get me going a little bit. They've been a big supporter, and it also has a lot to do with my brother Danny. And Danny is a fireman, as well as my nephews Daniel and Joseph, who happen to be in the fire department, and that's where your family comes into play. And they've definitely helped put the word out for me, and it's been very receptive so far. So hopefully I see a lot of you guys down there. You can go on to www.maggioscateringny.com. Go on online ordering, easily buy a ticket or two there. Again, it's just for adults, there's no kids. But what's also pretty cool about the venue, well, the actual whole setup, is that we got a couple months away and it's a full venue for just adults. All right, so here we got the romaine lettuce. Now the romaine lettuce, obviously, when you're having BLT sandwiches, you guys are so used to having a BLT, and you have the 2 pieces of bread, mayonnaise, then you have the leaf of the lettuce, and then the tomatoes sliced, and then a glob of bacon that's put into the sandwich. But here we have all those elements, but just a couple of different things are going to be different now. So here we're going to take this lettuce, and we're going to do is what we call julienne. So we're going to go across the actual heads of the lettuce. Now you don't want to go too big. You kind of want to get like a strand. This is called a julienne cut, and you want to get basically a julienne cut of romaine into this little pot, this little bowl that we have here. Now, believe it or not, for about 6 to 8 tomatoes, especially of this size, 1 good head of romaine is all you need for this dish. You don't need a lot. And let's just get down to the very core of this. We're just about done with that. All right, total over and all of the time, it's pretty quick. Like I said, it's about a good 15 minutes. All right, and we're getting a nice little color on the bacon. When we finish up with the bacon, we definitely want to save the bacon fat, and I'm going to show you the reason why in a moment. Take this lettuce right here, put it right into the bowl. Okay. Now from this, we're going to take 1 lemon. What you see me doing here is rolling the lemon, and the purpose of it is that it breaks down the walls of the lemon. So when you do have a lemon, sometimes it's too stiff. By rolling it, even with a lime too, you could do this. It breaks down the walls, and it actually gets the actual juice of the lemon to actually break down a little easier. Take my core right here, and then what we're going to do is squeeze this all right into the lettuce. So yes, I had a comment before about, wow, lemon juice and whatnot, but I tell you, it just adds a totally different element to this whole dish, and it's it's kind of nice little setup. You obviously got to watch out for your seeds, but you can always take your seeds out, and you could always go that route. You could always do it over a coriander or something like that, and do that. All right, let's get a couple of seeds out of the way. Good. All right. So that part is done. So now, believe it or not, the next best thing is taking the mayonnaise. Now, I happen to have a squirt bottle. Now, some of you might have your Hellmann's mayonnaise in a jar. If you do, you're only using about a tablespoon, maybe about 1.5 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Here, we're going to use the equivalent of about the same amount out of the squirt bottle. And that's it. So it's really just for kind of to get it to kind of mesh together a little bit, all right? So you're only layering maybe a little bit more than a tablespoon of your mayonnaise into the dish. So far what we got in here is the lemon, the romaine lettuce, and the mayo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about a pinch of salt. This bacon's coming out perfectly. Now I'm going to take about a pinch of salt, ideally kosher salt, about a pinch. And that's all you need. It breaks down the acid of the lemon. Now in this case, here's your only difference that I would suggest you doing. I use lemon and pepper seasoning. You can use straight black pepper. I like the lemon flavor, which is hence the reason why I'm using the extra lemon out of the lemon and pepper. And again, you'd use roughly about a sprinkle of that too, so about a pinch of that. And that's really it. All right. So that's set for that. The bacon, you're getting it into a nice red color, okay? My sister just joined on. Hi, Dan. So you're going to take this bacon and it's just about ready. We're roughly getting it to just where it's a little more than pink, but definitely before black. You don't want it to be overcooked or burnt. So that's not the whole point of the dish. So we only have a couple more elements left to this dish. And as soon as I pull this bacon off, we're going to be pretty much ready to go. Alright, again, this is a new twist on the BLT that I'm working on. And what I want to do is go over the menu that we got going on for June 9th. So June 9th, we're doing this food event under Maggio's Catering. A lot of you will receive personal invites from me either on Facebook or text messages. You can go on to www.maggioscateringny.com and you can buy your tickets on the tab that says online ordering. Credit card is right there. There is a small fee for the credit card, but it's set to go. Now, for families and friends, if you want to pay by cash or by credit card or by check, reach out to me personally. We can go accordingly. This event is open to the Port Jefferson area, Miller Place, Oakdale, Setauket, and of course, family and friends immediately. And it's being advertised currently as we speak by the fire department, by myself, and by local businesses in the community. So it's actually going to hopefully be a nice response, but it's also set to 150 people, first come, first serve. Now again, there's no adults, there's no children, it's only an adult night. And the purpose of it's literally said a couple's night out. And it's strictly for the couples to get away from the kids, get away from drama, just have a great time. And that whole purpose is kind of just to get with you, get some friends together, sit down, enjoy a nice dinner, dance a little bit, drink a little bit, and have a good old time. But the dinner menu itself is actually a pretty cool menu because it starts off with a family style appetizer. So every table is going to get barbecued meatballs. It's also going to get brown ale mussels, and then the last thing is the honey garlic sriracha chicken wings. And to kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown about those dishes, the barbecue meatballs is actually marinated in an actual ale. It's actually in a nice light ale, barbecue sauce. It's boiled together, and it's not your conventional meatballs, or maybe some of you might consider it maybe like a Swedish meatball. It's not like that at all. And just the same, you have then the bacon's just about ready, and I'll show you in 2 seconds what we're looking at. The mussels are soaked in a white wine and a brown ale. And then finally, for the last appetizer, is the honey sriracha chicken wings. Now, obviously, it has honey, garlic, and sriracha, but it's also hit with a flavored ale as well, a specific ale, an apple ale, and that one is actually going to be marinated with the actual appetizer for the garlic, for the chicken wings. And that is your actual family style appetizer for this event. Now, the bacon, just so I can break from that for a second, you're looking for it to be a regular cooked bacon. You don't want to go darker than that because you don't want to have that burnt flavor on your bacon. Now, every table, again, after the family appetizer, you're also going to have a salad. The salad is going to be a it's going to be a Greek infused Caesar salad, and the purpose of that basically being it's a regular Greek salad, but it's also going to have a couple of dressings, like a champagne dressing inside of the Caesar salad, and that'll combine with the actual dressings itself. All right, so let me break away from that for a second. Here I have panko breadcrumbs. Now here I have quite a bit of oil, and what I'm going to do with this is now I'm going to take panko. Now you can use breadcrumb. But in this case I personally like panko because it does have a nice little crunch to it. But you do want to take a lot of this oil out. I personally save it because my dog loves the flavor of bacon. So we do want to leave a little bit of bacon fat in there, and we're talking about maybe a teaspoon of the actual flavor, and a teaspoon of that bacon fat flavor. And what's going to be cool about the panko, or if you choose to use breadcrumb, once you put it in here, it actually browns the actual panko or the breadcrumb. But along with that, it'll actually also pick up the bacon fat and the bacon pieces that are in this pan. They'll soak it right up. You'll get the flavor of the breadcrumbs itself. So it's a pretty cool step. Now this we're going to use roughly about 3 handfuls, which is equivalent to about a half a cup. All right, so about a half a cup of breadcrumb. And again, you're going to just keep an eye on it. You're going to get it to a nice toast. Move it around a little bit. You'll see right away, once you start moving it around, it'll actually pick up all the bacon fat right off the bat. And this does go quickly, so you want to watch this real quickly. Because if you kind of walk away from this for a second, it very well quickly can burn. All right? So that's what I was saying. So that's the appetizers, and then the salad is pretty self-explanatory. But the entrees are pretty cool because now you go from the beer-infused or the alcohol-infused desserts, the appetizers, to now the entrees. The entrees are going to be a beer-glazed bratwurst with sauerkraut. So that's actually going to be marinated in the actual the sauerkraut and the sausage, and that's going to be all cooked together. So you'll get the flavor from the sauerkraut and the bratwurst. The second dish is going to be triple dipped fried chicken, and people think, wow, you know, fried chicken, but it's triple dip, and it's got basically like a tempura style to it. And that tempura style is going to be flavored with a Guinness ale, and that Guinness ale is going to be a nice little flavor to the fried chicken. So it's going to have the regular flavors of fried chicken. It's going to have a tempura base around it, but again, it's going to be sitting in a Guinness beer, so the fried chicken is going to be pretty incredible too. And then the last 2 dishes, one is going to be the stuffed sole. That's going to be stuffed with crab meat and scallops, and that's going to be in a wine sauce. And then the last one is going to be the pepper steak and onions, and that's going to be marinated in a beer and teriyaki sauce. And those are going to be our entrees. Now, originally when I first did this, I really wanted to make this a sit-down dinner, really kind of do the upscale look to it. But because this is our first event, we're going to make this a buffet, and the purpose being just to kind of get the name out there and kind of get the idea, with hopes that if we do this a second and a third time, that there'll be a following, and then we can really get into the sit-down part of it. The panko is just about done. We're close. The last thing is going to be the actual desserts. And the desserts, you know, we could always take it or leave it when it comes to the desserts. But the desserts is going to be an espresso cannoli, and that's going to have chocolate chips inside of it, and that will coincide with the Black Thunder cake. And now the Black Thunder is something that I'm working on, and it is something that I'm able to get, and I'm just thinking I might want to do my own spin on it, so I'm still debating on it. So along with those dishes, we also have a couple of sides. And the breadcrumb that we're looking for, the panko, we're looking for a nice little brown look to it. All right. And you'll notice, I'm going to show you the pan in a second, but all that fat from the bacon has now been soaked up, and it's now out of the pan. So you see how it's totally dry. There's nothing in it. That's because all the bacon fat, all the bacon flavoring is now in the breadcrumb. Believe it or not, we're just about done here. All right. Some of the sides that we're doing on the evening was going to be a beer. What do we have? A beer and butter braised mushrooms. Obviously beer, and the mushrooms will be marinated all together with the butter and whatnot. We're going to do a brown ale, butternut squash, macaroni and cheese. That is a fun dish. There's a lot of flavor profiles in that. It's actually pretty cool. So that'll be pretty exciting. And then the last thing is a beer braised Brussels sprouts and bacon. And again, it's self-explanatory. Beer braised Brussels sprouts and bacon is going to be marinated into the whole dish. All right, we're going to take the bacon now. All right, right into this pot, or this bowl, I should say. Now, we're down to 1, 2, 3 elements. 3 elements and we're done. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take all this lettuce, kind of just mix it together by hand. The last 2 things that you really are putting into this all together is really going to be more of a presentation look. But the presentation of it is the most important, along with the actual, of course, taste of the product. But it's what makes the dish kind of stand out on its own. All right, so this is pretty much set to go. Now, because I'm doing the stuffing part, I'm going to keep this glove on. All right. All right. Get a nice plate. All right. Take a tomato and let's get a nice little look on this. So now what we're going to do is now going to take this, stuff it in to your tomato. Nice and simple. All right. Now remember when we cut it on the bottom, so this way we can make it easily sit. All right. Good. Now the wife has already told me that if there's any extra bacon left, she wants it, so she's already claimed dibs on the bacon. My daughter's home and she's already claiming secondary on it. So we're just about done here. Taking all that lettuce and tomato, stuffing it right into the bacon, right into the salad. All the salad right into the tomato. Okay. There's nothing perfectly going right now. Nothing wrong with it exceeding a little, coming a little bit out of the tomato itself. Here we go. And then we got the last one. So like I said, the mix that I made is going to feed roughly around 8 to 10 tomatoes, but I'm using 6 right now. So if I had a couple more tomatoes, which I do, I would be able to finish this whole mix up. So 1 good whole romaine, and then about 8 ounces of bacon, and whatnot will actually feed about, like I said, 8 of these big tomatoes or a little bit more, about 8 to 10 of them. All right, we're down to the last steps. Another 2 gloves on, and we're just about a minute away from here for being completed. So again, pretty easy dish. And again, it's from start to finish, and you're taking a whole tomato, cutting out the core, cutting out the bottom, so it could actually sit properly. Taking a head of lettuce, chopping it up julienne style, browning your bacon, adding your fresh lemon, mayonnaise, a tablespoon, salt and pepper. Now if you want to go a little bit differently on the pepper, you can use a lemon and pepper seasoning. Now what we're going to do is take that breadcrumb, all right, or the panko, whichever you prefer, sprinkle it right on the top. All right, the more the merrier. And again, right on the plate, doesn't even make a difference because it adds a nice little ambiance look to it. A nice little look to the actual dish. And then the last thing we have is your domestic shredded Parmesan cheese. You can use grated cheese. Definitely a nicer look with the Parmesan shredded. So, and there she is. All right. And that is your take on a BLT. Folks, appreciate you watching. All right. Pretty cool dish. I took some pictures earlier today, but I'll definitely take some more of this particular dish. But super easy. Start to finish, you're looking about maybe 15 to 20 minutes at most. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you logging back in. Have yourselves a great night, great week. I'll see you next week. Have a good night, guys.